Hey everybody, I'm Crystal Stein and I am hanging out tonight with Dan King of Fist Bump Media and we are excited to see you guys. It's been a while. We haven't done a webinar in a while, Dan.
Yeah, I know. We gotta get serious about scheduling these things more often. I know a lot of folks love them and stuff, and they're a lot of fun. So, yeah, but I'm really excited about tonight. It's great to kind of get back and connect with everyone. Gonna have a lot of fun.
Yeah, we've got lots of awesome stuff to talk about tonight. So we are talking about how to achieve hashtag blog awesomeness, which I feel obligated to say is all one word because it's a hashtag. That's how we do. So if you're ready to be awesome and bloggy and blog awesomeness and hashtag all the awesomeness out of this, I'm ready if you are, Dan.
Yes. Do you think we need to define what hashtag blog awesomeness is? Because
I
it's
think I think maybe we should because it could be a lot of things. What do you mean by hashtag blog awesomeness,
well, just
Dan?
like it says on the blog awesomeness graphic, it's the state of excellence achieved when you apply sound design principles and maintenance practices to your website.
Oh, I feel like you need one of those twinkly like ding at the end of that. That was awesome. All
This is
right,
Google Hangouts. We could probably manage that. There are some cool.
we could be wearing party hats. I mean, I'm just saying
We
we can
we
make
could
it.
be wearing party hats probably.
We might by the end of this webinar, if you hang out the whole time, we might be wearing party hats. Don't go away. You never know what you might miss. He totally just turned on the Google effects. I'm serious. We might be wearing hats at the end.
Yeah.
Okay. Or
What?
now. It's
Would I
Clown
do,
Dan.
would I do something like that?
I'm not gonna lie, that might not make your blog awesome. We might want to remove that one. That might make your blog terrifying for small children or me. Um, Focus. We're gonna focus now. All right. So let's just jump right in, Dan. Let's just talk about. There's so many platforms. Okay. So which platform is it? WordPress? Is it WordPress.com? Is it Blogger? Is it TypePad? Is it Tumblr? What's gonna make my blog the most awesome?
Yeah, and that's a great place to start with this one. I think uh, you know, one thing I'll say too is a lot of the platforms out there, the Blogger, WordPress.com, TypePad, things like that too, are free platforms. But you know, kind of one word of wisdom when it comes to free platforms is it's not always really fully free. I work with a lot of people who have WordPress.com blogs, and they know too at the bottom of their blog post there's always going to be a little ad there that they have no control over and stuff. Um, there are things like in Blogger, for example. I think also even in WordPress too, where it's even part of the terms of service that the Blogger, because it's owned by Google, can use your blog basically. So there's, I mean, kind of content ownership type issues and stuff that could be kind of snuck in there as well, with the content that you're sharing. So really, when it comes to the best solutions, the best solution is always going to be what we refer to as a self-hosted one, not one that's hosted by another service. If you're putting your stuff on another service somewhere, one of those free services, there's those ownership issues. They could change terms of service and stuff like that too. We see the stuff like that pop up in Facebook all the time. How can Facebook use my profile picture in an ad somewhere? But those same things, it's part of how they pay for the service. Those same things can apply in resources like Blogger, WordPress.com, and any of the other free platforms. So a self-hosted one where basically you are getting server space somewhere and have a WordPress installation kind of standalone by itself that's not owned by somebody else is really ultimately the best place to house your content. I think with that too, there are going to be some things that you can do from a maintenance and management standpoint that you won't be able to do in some of these other places. Some of the other places are great because that they have a lot of the maintenance and stuff built in. But one of the great things that I love about a WordPress self-hosted website is really have full access to the entire just the entire library of plugins and tools and resources like that really allow you to do virtually anything. That there are people out there all the time, and it's what we refer to, WordPress is what we refer to as an open source platform, which means people can have access to the core code and write things themselves and stuff. So if there's a need somewhere, somebody's probably written a solution for it, which is pretty exciting. All those solutions don't always make it into the free versions right away. So that's a big thing. There are content ownership things, terms of service things and stuff, but really the capability to do anything you want with your website really only comes with a self-hosted, and I prefer the self-hosted WordPress platform.
I have to say I prefer that too, and I'm really surprised to actually hear myself say that, because for a long time I was I love Blogger and I'm never moving and I'm gonna ignore that everybody else is telling me that I should be on self-hosted WordPress. And I was scared because I was so used to Blogger, it was so user-friendly, and I just honestly didn't even know how to begin the process of switching over, and I think that's what scared me. I had figured out, because I am self-taught, everything with the design of my blog was self-taught on Blogger, and I finally got to the point where I figured it out, and I honestly got to the point where I figured out so much that I couldn't do anything more on Blogger. I had reached the maximum that it could offer me, and I was really needing those plugins, and being able to find, to connect with you, connect with somebody who knows what they're doing. There are so many great tutorials out there to help walk you through it. It is not that scary. Moving everything over and being afraid that you might lose your content is honestly less scary to me than having somebody else change their service terms and use my content without my knowledge. So,
Right.
If you connect with somebody like Dan who knows what he's doing, he's going to get it all moved for you, and it's all going to be there waiting for you. You can get the design set up. It's going to be awesome. You don't have to worry about it. And then I know Blogger is so easy. It is like you plug and play, and it's so easy to figure out how everything goes. But listen, I've been on my WordPress site now since last October. I guess we switched everything. I could not love it more. It is so easy to use. You go in, you type, you publish, and the plugins, listen, here's the thing. Here's my trick. I don't install plugins on my own until I've gone to somebody's site to see what they use, and I love it, and I'm like, oh, I love their social media tool that they're using, and then I figure out which plugin it is, and then I go steal it. It's not the right word. I don't reinvent the wheel. I like that it works on their site. Their site's really not crashing, so I feel like they did the research on their plugin, and I feel like it'll be awesome on my site. So I think that's one of the best parts about WordPress is you can go to other WordPress sites, see what they're using, do your research that way, and then just go search for it and add it, and it takes seconds, literally seconds. So if you wanted, Dan gave his thumbs up on self-hosted WordPress. I'm giving it mine. If you're still on Blogger, we love you. We do. But we can help. It's okay. We'll make it not scary.
And we do have prayer meetings on a regular basis for people who are still on Blogger too, don't we?
Yeah. Yes, we do love Blogger. We love Blogger. Blogger got me started. It did. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about, why switching to self-hosted WordPress just helps keep your content secure, because it's yours. You own it. You know where it's living. You know who has, control over it. Okay, so can we just talk about hackers and how else can I keep everything safe?
Yeah, and you know me, I like to do these things to be helpful, be a resource and stuff, and not always to try to sell and stuff. There is a big time here with our self-hosted WordPress stuff and everything too. And I even see like Diane Bailey in chat stuff talking about how we moved her site over and it's completely painless and she loves it and stuff. And so we do a lot of these things, and a lot of the things we're talking about. This is where it comes from. It comes from some of my experience with. Not only building and maintaining my own WordPress self-hosted sites and stuff for several years, about 8 years as a blogger, but even for about the last little over a year or so, where we've been hosting them and running maintenance and stuff for a lot of other folks. So a lot of these things we're talking about today are some of the biggest keys and lessons and stuff that I found. But I think even with making switch and stuff too, there's a few things that I do, and we've actually picked up several some of our managed hosting clients and stuff recently. I can talk about some of those different hosting packages and stuff later as well. In fact, we're going to have an opportunity here by the end of the session where I actually want to give away 6 months of free managed hosting to somebody as well. So I'll explain that opportunity here in a little bit. But we get folks sometimes too where, and I won't mention names of service providers, where there might be an entire hosting service that's gone down, for the better part of a full day because everything's got hacked and stuff like that too. And usually when they put out the notices about the issues, they're always pointing to a couple key things as it relates to safety and stuff, and that's things like passwords. I see a lot of folks when they're setting up their WordPress have a default username of admin, which is kind of giving somebody half the key to the door, and they only need to figure out the other half of the password stuff. And insecure, easy to hack passwords and stuff too, or a big culprit. What happens though is when there are holes like this, and one of those big holes is that just the login security, not good usernames, not good passwords. Is a wide open door for people to kind of get in. I've had one of my own sites, hacked because somebody was able to actually hack my password and log into my site as me as an admin, and then load up a bunch of junk and stuff like that too on the site. And it's not a fun thing to try to clean up. One of the other things though is just ongoing maintenance. And with the ongoing maintenance, it's one of the most important things you can do to stay secure, especially in a self-hosted WordPress type platform. You're going to have plugins and themes and things like that installed on your site. And if those do not stay up to date, a lot of times when they run updates on those plugins and themes, it's for security reasons. It's because they might find a security bug or something like that somewhere in the code that somebody's found a vulnerability to be able to kind of sneak in a back door onto your site. So a lot of those plugin updates and stuff are really important. One of the other things I see people do quite a bit as well too, and I try to work with our especially our managed hosting clients and stuff quite a bit to try to clean up, is if you've had a WordPress self-hosted site for a period of time and maybe changed the design a few times, you might have half a dozen or more old themes that are sitting on the website that are not being used and stuff. And those are, again, just little holes and vulnerabilities and stuff, especially if those things aren't getting updated. So it's best to kind of keep that stuff cleaned out. If you're not using an old theme, get rid of it. If you're not using an old plugin, get rid of it. Definitely keep the stuff up to date because of security holes that the hackers might be able to find and kind of sneak in a little backdoor onto your site. So.
Those are awesome tips, and I think it's easy. I get caught up adding plugins and things because I think they'll be really fun, and then I switch it later and I turn it off and totally forget to get rid of it completely. So that's a great tip, because all that stuff just takes up space. And listen, I need the space for all those pictures I keep creating on Canva. So I don't need my plugins taking up space on my site. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about just spam. Let's talk about spam, and not the kind that comes in the can, the kind that comes in my comments, because it's annoying and I don't want them there. And I love comments. I would love everybody to come comment on my blog post, but really, if you're not actually a person and you're a bot, you can just stay away. So how do I keep the spam, bot, not real people off of my site?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's a great question. And it's probably more of a nuisance than anything else, but can also really drive some performance issues for your website as well. So this gets to be a pretty big issue. One of the crazy things about some of the spam comments that we get on our website is people don't even have to visit your website to send a spam comment. They've got it all really kind of bot-driven sometimes and stuff too, so it just kind of sends a little hit into the kind of commenting system, and again, kind of thinking those little backdoor holes and stuff on the website. This is one of them where people can kind of send those kind of comments in without even really visiting your blog post and typing in like a normal person does. So really one of the easiest ways to deal with spam and control it is to use a third-party commenting system plugin like Discuss. The sites that I run Discuss on, including BibleDo.net, has really zero problems with spam. In something like Discuss, it comes with pluses and minuses and stuff. it's one of those things that I really try to tend towards. If there's a native function that can be done without having to add that functionality, then use the native function. So WordPress has a commenting system, so maybe try to use WordPress. But this is one of the benefits of it too. It's just going to carry a little extra weight. So there's more stuff that your site has to load and everything. So there's slight performance considerations and stuff to think of. But for me, a lot of times the benefit of really just completely eliminating spam like that far outweighs any of the slight performance that we might see differences like that. But also one of the alternatives is if you don't use something like a third-party commenting system like Discuss, then there is another WordPress plugin called Kismet. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. We're just talking about pronouncing Discuss right, but I believe it's Kismet. And it's a spam filter tool, and it'll pick up and catch a lot of spam, and it's kind of a learning tool as well. It even kind of try to learn from the spam comments and stuff that come on the site. One of the things though that you can do with that is that'll move stuff into a spam folder. But I still have a few sites every once in a while, and it's not all of them, but a few sites that just get a very high volume of spam. And even if it's getting picked up and dropped into a spam folder, still high volume, still can create a lot of what I refer to, and I'll talk more about this in a second, kind of build a lot of overhead in the database and stuff, and can result in performance issues and things. So one of the things I try to do sometimes is, if you're running native WordPress comments, is to shorten the period of time that the commenting is open on a blog post. So I might say, hey, close comments on blog posts that are more than 30 days old, for example, and that kind of activity will just basically shut that door so that those spam comments can't be added to those blog posts and stuff anymore. Now it means that normal people can't comment on those blog posts as well, but if you think about it, most of the commenting activity that's going to happen on your blog post is going to happen on the more recent ones, the first week or so that blog post is actually out. So a couple things there. Third-party commenting systems like Discuss, and then even shortening that time span that comments can be made on blog posts if you're not using that.
So Dan had mentioned that we were talking about how to pronounce some of these, and it's because in my head I cannot look at Discuss the way that they spell it and say it the right way. In my head I say discus. So I told him if I say it wrong, he's supposed to tell me that we're not talking about track and field and the thing that they throw. Is that what you do with the discus? I don't even know. But it's discuss. It's for comments. It's where a conversation happens. So if you're like me and you call it the wrong thing, don't feel bad. In my head, it's always going to be discus. And the one thing about discuss that I do notice that people say a lot is that they have trouble logging into it, and I know that that was one of the comments Marina asked. Sometimes she can't sign into it to comment. Do you have any tips on how to make that easier for readers to comment, or is that a setting thing on the blog, or is that a user issue?
Yeah, signing in to Discuss, I'm not 100% sure, because I believe if it's set up right too, Discuss itself is a tool for, like, if I'm signing on to somebody's blog that uses Discuss to leave a comment, it should give me the ability to either log in using the Discuss login, or even Facebook or Twitter or something like that as well too. And a lot of that I think is driven sometimes too by how the admin of the site has that set up. Do I want to allow people to sign in using Facebook or Twitter and things like that? So that may be one thing. But if you have a Discuss login or something like that and you can't sign into Discuss, then that may be there may not be a lot I can do about that. One of the other things I see people run into quite a bit with Discuss is their comments getting stuck in spammer jail, basically. And I think what happens too is if you do have a Discuss profile, when you're setting up your login, if you don't have a return email address associated with your login, then you're going to kind of get tagged by Discuss as a potential spammer. So if you try to leave a comment on somebody else's blog, it may not show up right away because they've kind of blacklisted you because you're not giving all of the information for your profile. So there's some issues like that as well too that could impact somebody's ability to use a tool like discuss. And quite honestly, that's one of the reasons why when I think about a third-party tool like Discuss, that some people may want to stay away from it. If you've had bad experiences with using it on other sites and stuff like that too, as well, it's okay. Stay away with it. But when it comes to spam control, just remember that there are some things you need to do. Akismet plugins are essential. And maybe even changing settings for the amount of time commenting is open and stuff like that too, to help kind of keep that spam level down as much as you possibly can.
Those are great tips, and I know that being able to make sure that your site is running smoothly, so people can come on and comment and everything is running quickly. And what are some tips that you can give us for just optimizing our site just to make it run smoother? Because I'm constantly uploading images. I mean, there's an image, at least one in every post, and I've got social media stuff, and I've got links, and I've got all kinds of stuff going on in every post, not just on the site in general. So I have a feeling at some point it's going to probably slow my site down. So I don't want that to happen. I don't want it to crash. I don't want people to have a bad experience. I want things to open super fast because we don't like to wait for things. So what can we do to make our sites really work as smoothly as possible?
And there's 4 things I'm going to mention here. The first one is related to this whole idea of plugins and how we use them and stuff. And it's really the idea is to stay native when you can. And what I mean by stay native when you can is when you think about using the commenting system plugins as an example, so Discuss and stuff like that too. Commenting is a function that is native built into WordPress. Technically, you don't need a plugin in order for people to leave comments on it and stuff. So you may have reasons why you want to use something like that, and that's fine. But really, whenever we can, try to lean on the functionality that's already built into the WordPress system and everything, and not add in a bunch of other pieces. Because the more plugins and stuff that I try to load up and everything too, those are all things that a user is going to end up having to load in some way once they actually visit the site. So we look to try to do things as native as possible, and if we have to add something, try to add it, things that are they're going to be a little bit lighter and stuff like that on the downloading for the end user and stuff. So that's the first one. Stay native when you can. The second one is to optimize images, and I'm going to show you that this is one thing that I run into quite a bit, and I see folks doing. I'm actually going to screen share here for a second to show you what I'm talking about. But this is with optimizing images. You mentioned images in your blog post. And images are fantastic. I'm a huge advocate of pictures. So what I'm going to show you is I'm here in PicMonkey, and hopefully Chris was confirmed. Everybody, you see that? Okay.
Yeah, we can see it. Of course, I just talked, so now they can't. So I'll go away again. Hold on.
Okay. So I'm looking at the image here in PicMonkey, and this is just an image. It's the photo that was taken and stuff. And when you upload a photo into WordPress, what it's going to do is actually it's going to create a few different kind of sizes of the images for you. So I can load up a very large picture. It's going to create a large size, a medium size, a thumbnail size and stuff automatically so that they can be used and leveraged in different places. But one of the things I need to consider, though, even though WordPress does some resizing like that, when I take this picture, it's a nice, pretty high resolution picture and stuff. And this is from my recent trip to Africa back in January. But I'm just going to go. I haven't done anything to this image yet here in PicMonkey. I'm just going to go to save because I want to show you something. So basically, I'm just saving the image as is. And if you look down here, you see the file size is 1.7 megabytes. And for folks that don't understand the image size pieces and stuff, megabytes is pretty big. If I'm going 1.7 for a single image, that's a lot of large file size stuff that I'm actually sending up. So let me cancel that. I'm going to do one thing. If I go to resize this, and you see the size here is 3,318 by 2212. So that's 3,318 pixels wide. A lot of times in a blog post, if you kind of get a feel for the width of a blog post on your blog, It might be maybe it'll vary depending on the theme you're using and stuff, but it might be around say 640 pixels wide or something like that. So if I just resize this image to 640 pixels wide, keep the proportions, it's going to resize it to 640 by 427. So that'll fill up all the space I needed to fill up in a blog post. Now, if I go back to save that now, I want you to see what that does. That took it down from 1.7 megabytes to 148 kilobytes, which is substantially smaller. Going to be much easier for loading and stuff like that too for visitors when they come visit your website and need to download those pictures basically from the web. So optimizing images is going to be one thing, and the biggest thing you do with that is really kind of optimize the size. Make sure you're not creating something that's so much bigger than what your blog post is going to handle anyway, and you'll change the file size substantially by doing that, so that folks can see that. So I'm going to come back so you can see me now. Awesome. And that was an amazing tip, I know. One of the other things is, so let's see, the first one is stay native when you can. Second is optimize images. Third here is going to be use a caching plugin. And what I mean by caching is the way files and stuff transfer over the internet. Every time I visit Crystal Stein's amazing website, right? First time I visit there, I've never been there, so any of the images, the header image and things like that, the awesome stuff in the sidebar and all that, have to basically download from wherever her website is hosted, right, the Fistbump Media server, all the way down to my computer. I have to get all of those images the first time. Now what caching does is basically it'll move some of those images closer. Sometimes it's moving them closer, so when I'm visiting a website, it's not a direct connection between me and Crystal's website. There are several computers, several servers along the way. My internet service provider is going to have some stuff like that too. But even my computer in the browser will cache and store some of those images. So what a good caching plugin will do is it will actually help kind of optimize how that kind of communication works. So when first time I go visit Crystal Stein's amazing website, the header image comes down. The next time I go visit, my browser already has a copy of that header image there, so it doesn't have to download it from the web. So obviously it's going to help speed up what does need to be downloaded. Maybe there's a new image on a blog post and that comes downloaded, but I don't have to download everything that's in the header and sidebars and all that stuff. So a good caching plugin, the one I prefer is WP Super Cache. That's C-A-C-H-E. It's a good one. There's a couple of really good ones, but that's one of my favorites that I tend to use on a lot of websites. But that will certainly help sites run faster and stuff. And the fourth thing here, then, and the last one is database overhead. That gets back to some of the spam stuff. WordPress. This is a really slick feature. It saves post revisions. So if I'm working on a blog post, I get halfway through and I click on save, it's going to save that basically as a version, right? And then if I go back later and I save again, it's going to save that as a new version. So in the database, it's going to keep all of these old versions every time I click on that save button, which is a good thing because if something happens and a computer crashes and I need to go back in, then those older versions will be there that I can kind of go back to and say, wait a minute, okay, this is where I was before. So things like post revision stuff I do, but as you can imagine, if I save a post 10 times every time I'm writing something, I'm going to have 10 different versions for every blog post. If you write a few blog posts a week, that can add up really quickly and create just a lot of extra overhead basically in the database. So things like post revisions, the spam stuff, all that creates a lot of overhead in the database, which means there's more information there on the back end that the website has to work on is just trying to serve up and send out a blog post to a reader when they come visit. So that's one of the things too I do in the maintenance quite a bit is I do a lot of database optimization stuff for folks. And there are tools that you can use, some database management plugins and stuff that will help kind of clean up some of that old junk. It does mean at a certain point, old post revisions will go away. But that's usually more of like a quick emergency backup kind of thing. Like I'm working on a post and my computer crashed, and I got to get the what was recovered there. So so those are the 4 big things: stay native when you can, optimize your images, use a good caching plugin, and clean up database overhead of spam, post revisions, things like that.
I feel like I need to go massively clean my site or something. I need to just go delete all the things and install all the things, but I feel like I don't. Because I feel like maybe you take care of that for me, Dan. I don't know.
I was just going to say, dude, you totally do, but you totally don't. But yeah, that's one of the things I do with our managed hosting plan is I do a lot of this maintenance and stuff for you. I'll set up things like the caching plugins, and I deal with a lot of the database cleanup and all the spam control and some of the things we're talking about. Plugin updates, so everything we're talking about is actually this is stuff that I do for our managed hosting clients and our basic plans. So, yeah.
Because when we're talking about hashtag blog awesomeness, Dan puts the awesome in blog awesomeness. Okay, so totally losing track of what we're talking about, but I feel like there's more plugins we need to talk about, because here's things I don't understand. I don't understand SEO, and I don't understand Google+. Help me, Dan. Make me awesome with SEO and the awesomeness.
Yeah, so one of the first things with SEO that I'll even point out is just this whole stuff that we were just talking about with your site running faster. Download speed of your site is one of the things that actually impacts SEO. So stuff like making sure you're not loading images that are too big and stuff like that too. That'll impact your SEO because if it's not serving up fast enough, Google's going to say, we don't want to refer our visitors to that. So all that stuff we're talking about so far definitely still impacts SEO. But even building on that, there are a few things here too that that we can do within the website itself that really drive and impact SEO as well. One of the first things is a good SEO plugin. And there's one called Wordpress Seo by Yoast, Y-O-A-S-T, which is a fantastic plugin. It's really always kind of delivered everything that I've needed it to within a plugin. I'm going to screen share here again in a second, and I'm going to show you a few things about what this plugin can do. Try to stay away from like full-blown training on it, but definitely highlight a few things because it helps to kind of understand some of what's important when it comes to search engine optimization for our website. So let me screen share and get back to this. Boom. All right. Cool. So here's a blog post I got, right? The ultimate guide to social media for small groups. Awesome blog post. But really, as I think about this, that there are a few keywords. This is a small group ministry resource. So when I think about optimizing for keywords, there are keywords like social media, small groups, and stuff like that too that I'm going to want to hit. Now, actually, let me jump to sorry, I should have had this one up already. Oh, SEO. Pop up in a new tab here real quick. So one of the first things, though, before I even look at that blog post, that a good SEO plugin is going to do is it's going to set up a lot of the kind of the back end pieces for how your site should be categorized and stuff, and how you plug in things like the title for your blog, what's called the meta description. This meta data stuff is stuff that it's kind of keyword-driven things on the back end. So if there's a description for my website, this is what the visitors are going to see, like in the little description, the little text underneath the title in Google search results. So I want to make sure that's filled with certain keywords and stuff that I want to drive. I can set up blog posts and pages and stuff to have a certain structure to how I'm pulling that information in. A good SEO plugin is going to deal with things like social media, and for example, open graph metadata again is a big thing. You can kind of define when somebody clicks on the Facebook share button on your website, they're sharing it to Facebook. You can control the image that shows up, the title that shows up, the text that shows up underneath the title and stuff like that too. All that's driven by this data kind of behind the scenes and everything, which a good SEO plugin will actually help handle. So with that said, let's just kind of looking at a few settings there for the same thing. This blog post I was just looking at, this ultimate guide to social media for small groups. Here's the back end. Here's my dashboard for this one. And what WordPress SEO by Yoast does is you see that as in my little publish area here, I got SEO is good. I got a green dot next to my SEO check there, right? And then there's this section down here, this WordPress SEO by Yoast, that really helps me kind of break down. And the first thing I'm going to do when I'm actually creating a blog post is actually set up and say, here's my focus keyword. I'm targeting small groups, and that's what I really want to try to drive for search results for this. And right above that, you see the snippet preview. This is actually going to show you what the search result looks like, and I actually happen to have that pulled up here as well too. This is what the search result looks like, right? It's pulling the same text and everything, just as I've got it set on the blog post itself. Okay, and it even tells me, it's like, hey, your focus keyword was found in the article heading, the page title, the URL, 6 times in the content, and in the meta description. And that meta description is this piece right here that kind of falls, the description of the text there. And that's something you can just set and define. A lot of times what it will do is it will default to some text within the blog post itself. But if you really want to try to kind of hit your search engine optimization right, you'll write a really good meta description, because when people see that search result, that might be something they look at that helps them determine whether or not they actually want to visit that post. So this right here, we see in Google search results, is that meta description. So writing a good one that's still, again, kind of not overloaded, but loaded right with your keywords and things like that that you want to drive is going to be important to that setup. So this plugin will do that, and it will scan this blog post. The other really cool thing here too that we see is as I save that and run that check once my blog post is done, it even kind of breaks down and does a full page analysis. It'll even tell you why. If I didn't score green here, it'll tell you why I didn't score green. What things are yellow, what things are orange and red that I need to actually work on. In this case, is one of the yellow things is the page title contains the keyword phrase but does not appear at the beginning. Try and move it to the beginning. So it's saying in the very beginning of my blog post, I don't have my keywords and stuff in there. So it'll tell you what tweaks you need to make. Not everything in there you see needs to be green in order for it to be good green overall for your blog post. But that's one of the things that WordPress SEO by Yoast does. It's a free plugin. It's a great tool. I think it should probably be on every website. And again, this doesn't guarantee that you're going to pop up #1 in your search results on Google and stuff, but it does make sure that if you're trying to focus on a certain keywords, that those keywords are going to be set properly for your post. That you're set up optimized for that keyword within your blog post. So that's WordPress SEO by Yoast. Now I have another piece with SEO here that I want to try to hit real quick, but let's make sure, are we good on questions or anything coming in related to that right now, Crystal?
There was a question about whether that would work for the free WordPress blogs or just the self-hosted, but I think that one got answered in the community, in the chat here. It looks like it only works for the self-hosted, since the free WordPress doesn't allow plugins. So, bummer on that one, but this is definitely a great tool. And I'm going to be honest, it's the thing that I don't do because I am trying really hard. It's for me this year with blogging, I just want to be more intentional about my plan. I want to plan further in advance for my blog posts so that I can take the time to do these things because they're really important, and I'm doing myself a disservice with the effort I'm putting into my writing by not planning ahead and not taking the time to do these things to make it easier for readers to find the content that they're looking for. And so things like SEO and some of the other things we're going to talk about, the further out in advance I can plan and work on content the more time I have to take care of these details, which I think is really important. So I love that you're sharing this. This is awesome and has me all excited to go play
Yeah,
with a plugin and try some SEO.
yeah. Two things there, real quick, as well. Yeah, that's absolutely right. This is the kind of thing. This is one of the reasons why a lot of people switch from a free WordPress.com to a self-hosted WordPress, is because then you have control over what you can and cannot do on your site. It's not controlled by somebody else like WordPress.com. So these are the kinds of plugins and stuff that you can then add. The other thing is that WordPress SEO doesn't set your SEO. Basically, it helps you measure it so that you know what you need to do in order to make it better. Here's one of the other things too, and this is a little free tip as well that a lot of people don't get, and this ends up impacting a lot of the SEO. So you see here, my focus keyword is small groups. That's what I'm trying to kind of gear towards is small groups for this blog post, right? One of the other things is in images. As I'm adding an image to the website, there are a couple of things that I do. One is that I usually, the image file name, I try to make sure it contains the keywords in them, because that really kind of tags the image itself, which we all know Google image search, people can search images, and it'd be great if this image showed up when people are searching for small groups, right? But one of the other things is you can kind of put keywords on the image using what's called the alternative text field. And here you see I've thrown in a few keywords: social media, and there's my focus keywords: small groups, small group ministry, a few keyword terms and stuff that I want to make sure that I'm targeting for. And that basically kind of puts those in little tags, secret tags that nobody sees except for the search engine bots behind the scenes and stuff. So little tricks like that too will help kind of boost up your search engine value for whatever keywords and stuff that you're trying to target. So that's a cool little tip there.
I'm totally going to interrupt you on that one, because I have a friend who's a blogger who absolutely does that alternative text tip for every single photo, and a major company was just searching for photos for an ad campaign and came across one of her photos because she had those great text keywords in there, and contacted her and are using one of her photos in one of their upcoming ad campaigns. So I think that's just such a fun sort of success story on why that works. And it's also, going that extra step makes it even better whenever people are pinning your things to Pinterest, which is a totally different webinar that we could have about Pinterest, I think. But just taking those steps, it doesn't look like it does anything different to your post, but whenever people are looking for those keywords, it really does make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me hit the other thing too. And I know we're trying to move along with time and everything, but there's another piece with SEO here I want to try to hit, and it'll be a quick one because actually it's another one of those topics that I want to make sure that we're really doing an entire webinar on as well, and that's the Google Plus factor. So yeah, and that's absolutely right. And I can't tell you how much traffic I know that I'm getting to my website because somebody did an image search on Google, ended up landing on my website. They're not coming in just to grab the image and go. I'm actually see them actually navigating around on the site and stuff, spending some time there. So the images, a lot of times, if you're tagging them right, can be a big entry point for people finding you in the first place. So it's a missed opportunity if we're not tagging those right and doing that kind of stuff. But the other thing here, like I said, is the Google Plus piece. So I've got this post. One of the things that everybody should be doing within their profile and stuff is setting up linking in their Google Plus profile into their user profile, so that they can set up Google authorship. Like I said, I'm not going to go through all of how to set up Google authorship and everything right now, because that's a whole other webinar stuff too. But one thing I want to point out is a lot of times, and this is a tool, it's called a structured data testing tool that the Google has. A lot of times you'll see in the search results, and you don't see it in the search results on this one for my blog post, because Google still figures out, says, oh, okay, well, is this value enough from this website, blah, blah, blah. But you see somebody else who's talking about similar subject here, shows up in the search results right above me, has their little image next to it, right? And this happens to be on CNN's website, so obviously Google valued CNN more than they did Bible Dude. I don't know what they're thinking, but they did that somehow. But that's there because of Google authorship, and you can see when I've got Google authorship set up, right, this structured data testing tool stuff, I can send this out in some links and stuff like that too, and share it in the Facebook group for Spell Media University and stuff as well too. You see I'm set up right at least, and Google will still determine whether or not they want to show my image there and stuff too, but that'll be a big thing. The other thing is getting the blog post out onto Google+. Share it there, get +1s on it and stuff like that too, which is just the equivalent of like the Facebook like, but +1s for your content on Google+. If you think about it, if Google's indexing that stuff and trying to determine what content is most valuable, for Google, that is the social proof that they're looking for. If a post is on Google+ and it has several +1s on it stuff, then it adds value, then that's going to boost its search engine rankings and stuff. So like I said, we're going to spend a lot of time in a webinar really kind of digging in just even Google+ and ideas like that, like authorship, how to share content and get +1s, and even this kind of thing, Google Hangouts and stuff, and how you might be able to use those and leverage that for blog awesomeness. So we'll spend a lot more time on that later, but worth pointing out that the Google+ will play a big factor in your search engine optimization efforts.
Yeah, awesome. I know that's going to be a really great webinar because I think there's a lot of things that can get really confusing about Google authorship and even just setting up Google Analytics and how everything plays together there. So that's going to be an awesome one. I'm excited about that, and hopefully we'll get that one on the calendar here before too long. So we'll have some dates and things set up in a little bit on that one. So I know we've touched on it just a little bit when you're talking about Google and traffic flow, and why should we be thinking about where our traffic's coming from? Talk about in marketing we talk about sales funnels and things like that. What should we be thinking about with our blogs when it comes to traffic, and what can we be doing to really get readers to come in and really get them where we want them?
Yeah, and that's awesome. So there's a few things that I do, and I'm going to jump to screen sharing really quick. And one of them is you guys have already kind of experienced some of this if you've registered for this webinar. So so basically, one of the things that I try to steer people towards a lot of time is just custom landing pages that serve different purposes for you on your blog. Now, this isn't really a maintenance thing or anything like that, but really what I talk about when I talk about a landing page is these entry points where you're going to drive people to take some kind of action. And a lot of times, especially for a blog, it's subscribing to my blog or something like that. And really subscribing to this webinar, registering for the webinar, happens exactly like subscribing to somebody's blog. So create a custom landing page that's really designed. It's got a visual element. It's got a brief description, a few bullet points of why this is important. And in this case, I'm trying to encourage you why it's important to register for this webinar. Quick towards the top, it's got an opportunity to go ahead and register. Move down, cool quotes, more images, more details as far as to why you should be here and stuff like that too. There may drop some testimonials or something like that sometime, depending on what you're trying to do. Again, at the very bottom of the page, you want to make sure you again have that opportunity to register. One of the other things that I'll show you kind of another example that I have here on Bible Dude. And actually, I have a blog post going up on the Illume blog tomorrow. Actually, tonight, like after midnight. A lot of you guys will probably be pretty interested in that, so check that out. But one of the things that I do is, if you look at my profile on the Illume blog, when it links and says, "Hey, Dan King from BibleDude.net," I have that BibleDude.net not just going to the home page, but a custom landing page that I created for those readers coming from a Loom. So I even say, hey, welcome Loom readers, right? Cool big Loom logo up there. Just a quick note about, hey, well, I'm glad you're here. If you're interested in getting more of this awesomeness, right? Awesomeness. Is that from Webster's? I'm not sure. If not, it should be. I'm gonna start a petition to get it in there. Hey, subscribe to BibleDude.net. Connect with me on social media. By the way, if you enjoyed reading, what you were reading over on a Loom, here's some more of my Loom posts. Here's some stuff that I've been writing for Fistbump Media. Here's some stuff I have here at BibleDude.net that you might be interested in. So it's kind of a custom landing page just for those readers who have shown interest in what I'm writing over at Loom. Want to come over and check out what I'm doing at BibleDude.net. This is targeting just them and really trying to drive a specific outcome. In this case, hey, subscribe to my blog because I'd love to have you as a regular reader here too, because I'm writing some other great stuff that I'm sure you'll love as well. So it's one of the cool, awesome things that you can do with landing pages and stuff that can really drive some impact and make a difference.
I love that, and I'm totally going to go make some custom landing pages for the sites that I blog for because that's so fun. And look, you're wearing hats. I want a hat. Hold on. Please pause the regular programming while we put on hats.
Pretty hats.
I already kind of have the faux hawk, so I'm skipping that one. Oh, you stole the pirate. I wanted to be the pirate. All right,
I could be something else.
Crown. Nope. I want the cool glasses. I'm gonna be a hipster. Oh, a tiara. Oh, you're so awesome, Dan. You look, you're gonna go work out. Oh gosh. There we go.
I'm sporting a faux hawk too now.
Oh, there. That one to me looks like an ear of corn. I just can't get over it. It's a little strange. All right.
Wow.
The sound effects are my favorite part. Okay, so we only have a couple more minutes, so we should probably get to a couple of the questions before we wrap up. And then we need to make sure that we end by telling them how they could win the 6 months of free hosting, because now they all are like, yes, WordPress, self-hosted, sign me up. But free is always the most awesome of the blog awesomeness, so we should try to say the word awesome in every sentence from here on out. Awesome. Okay.
That would be awesome.
That would be the awesomeness. The English major in me is freaking out that that's not a word. Okay, so in your opinion, about approximately your most awesome guess, how much does it cost to switch from a free WordPress site to self-hosted WordPress? Just like a ballpark monthly fee on that one, because it's awesome.
That is an awesome question. Thank you for that awesomeness. By the way, hold on, let me get a sip of my awesome tea.
It's in an awesome mug, and it's awesome tea from Africa, in case anyone was wondering.
It's a high calling mug, handcrafted.
Awesome.
Yeah, and it's Uganda tea. I'm getting sad because the box is getting close to being empty. So, but to answer that question, this is an awesome question. Yeah, actually, I'm doing those migrations and stuff for free, as long as I don't have to do much like redesign. If you're running a certain theme and stuff, and I'm able to get that theme over for same theme and install and everything for free, then I'll actually do the migration from WordPress.com over to self-hosted WordPress, absolutely no cost. So it's really just to set up the hosting, and I'll note too that I do that for my basic hosting clients and stuff for free. I do, when it comes to hosting plans, I have what I refer to as my economy plan, which is it's like an $8.99 a month, and it's pretty typical standard. If you were to go to GoDaddy, which I think you probably get a little bit cheaper at GoDaddy because they're like volume leaders and that kind of stuff. Bluehost, any of the other kind of regular hosting services. Basically, that economy plan, I'll give you space on my servers, and you run it. So it's comparable service to any other hosting service like that. But where I really make the difference then is that the managed hosting plan, which is my basic plan. And if you're on the page below, you can click on it. The little image that says "More Writing, Less Technology Web Hosting Designed for Bloggers." That'll open up a new window, so you won't actually leave the webinar here if you want to click on that. But that'll show you our hosting plans and stuff. But basically, it's the basic plan. It's $19.99 a month, so it's a little bit more than what you're going to pay for standard hosting. But that's where it includes all of the maintenance. That's where I do all the stuff that we're talking about today for you. And I have some other bigger plans and stuff. Most people don't know you need to go into those bigger plans. I think I have one or two people that hit really, big traffic thresholds and stuff like that too, where then they need one of the bigger plans. But the basic $19.99 a month will get you over. You do that, I'll migrate your website for free. Anyway, and get you set up. If you need to do some blog redesign, or you want to do a different theme or something like that too, we can talk about that. But even with that, especially for my hosting clients and stuff, I'll even make it easy. I can do payment plans and stuff like that too. If we need to do a small redesign package, I have small redesign packages starting at, I think, just a couple $100 or so. But we can even break that out into payments, and so you have really a very small financial impact over a period of time, rather than lay out a couple $100 to do this. So it's one of the things I always try to do, is make sure that I'm making that kind of stuff very easy, accessible, and affordable for any of our clients. If you want to do it, don't let that cost be prohibitive to you. We'll make it work.
Dan, that is awesome. Gosh, I love Google. Okay, so there were definitely some questions in the chat about, okay, well, what about Blogger, and are there other fees associated? Does WordPress charge you a monthly fee? Things like that. So I think that those are great questions. Maybe, I don't know if you want to answer them now, or if you want to just chat in the Facebook page, or have people just email you their questions if they have specific things, really specific to their site. But
Yeah, I can hit that really quick as well too. And to give the quick answer, if anybody's got questions and stuff too as well, don't hesitate to reach out, hit me up. You do so on the little form on the bottom of the website here too, or just email me, dan@fistbumpmedia.com. Any of that stuff is fine. Happy to answer any questions and stuff anybody has, even following the stuff up. But even migrating from Google, really getting the content over and stuff too into just a pretty standard default theme and stuff like that too. I'll do that migration for free. If we need to do a little extra design work or something like that too, because especially moving from Blogger, it's not like you're going to get the same exact theme. There's going to be some element of redesign, but I can usually do that for pretty low cost if we're not going over the top with, okay, now I want a new header design and everything else. If I'm keeping your same header, stuff like that too, I can make that really super affordable and stuff for you. Yeah, so I think that leads in. Probably the last thing we really have here is how somebody can get the 6 months free of hosting, and really what I want to do is I want to give the managed hosting to somebody for 6 months, and the way I'm going to do that is sometime in the next 24 hours. Anybody who's not on it already, if you want to sign up for our managed hosting plan, go ahead and sign up. Get that started on the website. You can do that using that the image at the bottom of the page. The More Hosting, Less Technology Web Hosting Design for Bloggers. Click over to that. Sign up for our basic plan. It means that you actually have to set it up and actually pay for the first month, $19.99. I'll work with you. We'll get your site migrated and everything too. But when I pick a winner, I'll announce in a follow-up email to everybody when I send out resources with the video of this recording and everything to everybody. I'll pick one of those folks. I'll refund that first month instead of to pay anything for the first 6 months, and then we'll start paying 6 months down the road. So that's it. Really, just sign up, and I will kind of do a random drawing for anybody who signs up for managed hosting tonight, sometime in the next 24 hours.
That sounds amazing. Hurry, go sign up. It's seriously 24 hours. Like, just go do it now so you don't forget, because I know when you go away from here, you're going to go grab a cup of coffee and you're going to go do some laundry, or you're going to just go to bed and forget. Just go ahead and sign up now. We'll wait. Okay, awesome. So hopefully you're the big winner. You, I'm not sure who you are, but you, yay, somebody's got to win, so it's you, yay. So Dan, you just blew everybody away with your awesome generosity. It is what you are known for. I mean, not only do you share your wealth of knowledge, but you're completely generous with helping people get to this point in their blogging where they can just jump in and write and do it the best they can, and you take care of all those details. So big fist bump to you for doing that for me. Boom.
Boom.
There we go. All right, and I think it's 10 o'clock. It's been an hour. I think we call it a day. Unless you have anything, do you want to wrap up with any final notes?
Sure. Yeah. And actually, just to address see Julie William in the chat saying, I can't do impulse purchases. Just do it. It's okay. No
Just
pressure.
this one time, Julie. Just this one time.
No pressure. And anybody who's worked with me too, I'm not like a high pressure kind of guy or anything either. So.
It's why I have to do the hard sell, because he's not. He won't do it. I'll do it, though. Go back. It's okay.
But yeah, I'm just, thankful for everybody. I see a lot of the comments, all the fist bumps out there and everything too. So thank you guys so much for being here. But we love doing this. We love being a resource. It's just cool. It's cool to be a part of what you guys are doing. So keep up the great work. And that's my thing is that I try to enable you to be as awesome as you can. So yeah, work awesome energy. So yeah, and that's why I do the kind of managed hosting the way I do and everything as well too. So that it frees you up, so that you don't have to worry about managing the technology. Most of the bloggers that I know are writers. They get into blogging not because they love to be a webmaster. They do it because they love to write. So that's kind of my thing is anytime I can manage that in a way so that you can just write and be awesome at what you do best, then I will help do that, and I'm honored to. So thank you guys, appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, go be awesome, everybody. Can we do awesome one more time before we end it? Awesome. It's been awesome.
Awesome.
The awesomest. Awesome sauce. Hashtag blog awesome.
Thank you.
See ya.